I never thought I'd be the guy to catch his wife cheating. Hell, I always believed in honesty, loyalty, all that bullshit. But life has a way of screwing with your head when you least expect it. Tanya and I had been together for nearly 7 years. We had our ups and downs, sure, but overall I thought we were solid. She was a little bitchy sometimes, but I figured that was just her personality. Still, she was beautiful, smart, and seemed genuinely into me. Until one day, I started noticing weird little signs that something was off. It all started about 2 months ago. Tanya had been more secretive with her phone, always texting someone late at night but never letting me see what she was doing. She'd brush it off when I asked, calling me paranoid or insecure, but I could see her eyeing her phone like it was a weapon, hiding it when I approached. Still, I didn't want to be that guy who jumps to conclusions, so I let it go until I couldn't anymore. Then came the fights, the cold shoulders, the excuses she threw out about being busy or stressed. I wanted to believe her, but deep down, I knew she was hiding something. The real breaking point came when I found out she'd been going to anger management classes, courtesy of a court order after that road rage incident I had. I was trying to work on myself, get my temper in check, but she used it as an excuse to go to therapy. She kept saying it was for her to control her anger to be a better woman. I believed her. Then I started noticing her acting weird around her counselor, Dr. Mitchell. She'd come home late, smelling like perfume I didn't recognize, and she'd get defensive whenever I asked about her sessions. I brushed it off for a while, telling myself she was just venting or talking about her issues. But I wasn't stupid. I knew something was wrong. One evening, I decided to surprise her and show up early for her therapy session. Maybe I wanted to confront her or just see what was going on. I never expected to see what I saw that day. I parked my truck outside the counselor's office, planning to wait until she came out. But as I approached the door, I saw it was unlocked. Not just unlocked, cracked open just enough for me to see inside. And what I saw made my blood run cold. Tanya, my wife, was in that office pressed up against Dr. Mitchell's desk, her hands all over him, kissing him like she was starving. Her hair was a mess, her makeup smudged, and she looked like she was about to climb on him right then and there. I froze. My mind was racing. I couldn't believe it. Tanya, the woman I loved, was cheating on me with her own counselor, someone she was supposed to trust, someone who was supposed to help her manage her anger, not play with it. I felt this surge of rage and betrayal I'd never known before. I could have stormed in right then and there and caused a scene, but I didn't. I just watched, stunned, as they continued, completely unaware I was there. That image haunted me every second afterward. I didn't sleep that night, replaying it over and over, trying to make sense of how she could do this to me, how she could betray me so openly, so blatantly, with someone she claimed was helping her get better. I knew I had to figure out what to do next, but every thought was coated in pain and fury. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My head was pounding, and the image of Tanya with Dr. Mitchell kept flashing through my mind. I couldn't get it out of my head, her lips on his, her hands on his shoulders, the way she looked like she was in ecstasy. It was like a punch to the gut every time. I felt unstable, angry, betrayed. I didn't know how I was supposed to act, what I was supposed to do. Part of me wanted to storm into that office, confront them both, maybe even do something reckless. But another part of me told myself to stay calm, gather my thoughts, and plan my next move. I decided I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to get concrete proof, something I could confront her with, something that would make her realize I wasn't just some cuckold who'd turn a blind eye. So I started digging. I went through her phone, her emails, her social media, trying to find anything that would tell me the truth. It was ugly seeing her. Messages to that bastard Dr. Mitchell, filled with flirtatious bullshit, little innuendos about meeting up, about getting better together. She was lying so smoothly, pretending to be innocent, but it was all a damn act. I found texts from her that hinted at secret meetings, late-night calls, even suggestive pictures. She was playing me for a fool. The more I looked, the more I realized this wasn't some fleeting mistake. This was something she'd been hiding, probably for a while, and I got angry. I felt like I'd been sucker punched, but I also felt humiliated, like I'd been blind to what was happening right under my nose. How could I have missed the signs? How could I have trusted her so blindly? I kept asking myself all these questions, but deep down, I knew I had to confront her. I couldn't just let her keep lying to me. When I finally gathered enough evidence, I called her at work and told her I needed to talk. She was bitchy from the start, told me I was overreacting, that I was paranoid, and that I was making a big deal out of nothing. Classic Tanya: blame me, gaslight me, try to spin it around so I'd feel guilty for catching her, but I wasn't having it. I told her I knew everything, that I had proof of her betrayal, and I demanded she come home so we could talk face to face. She hesitated, then finally agreed, sounding annoyed and dismissive, as if she didn't care what I knew. When she got home that evening, her attitude was even worse. She tried to act like she was innocent, like I was crazy for suspecting her in the first place. She kept lying, saying she was at her therapy session, that I was imagining things, that I didn't understand her. But I had the texts, the pictures, everything. I laid it all out, and her reaction was priceless, half denial, half bitchy defiance. She called me paranoid and said I was overreacting because I was insecure. I told her she was a liar, that I knew she'd been screwing that idiot Mitchell for months, and that she was just trying to save face. Her face turned red with anger, and she spat back at me, calling me a jealous idiot, saying I was imagining things, that I was just insecure because I'd had that road rage incident. I couldn't believe how quick she was to turn everything around on me. I felt like I was losing my mind. The betrayal hit me hard. I'd trusted her, loved her, and she was out there fucking around behind my back with someone who was supposed to be helping her manage her anger. That whole day was a blur of raw emotion: anger, hurt, disbelief. I felt like I'd been punched again and again, and I knew I couldn't just pretend everything was okay anymore. I had to decide whether I was going to let her get away with it or finally stand up for myself. After that confrontation, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept racing, replaying everything I'd uncovered and everything she'd said. Part of me wanted to believe she'd just deny everything, that it was all some big misunderstanding. But the evidence was clear, and I knew she was lying through her teeth. That bitchy smirk she kept wearing told me she didn't care about my feelings, that she thought she could manipulate her way out of it. And honestly, it made me furious. I felt like I'd been played for a fool for years, and now I was finally seeing her true colors. The next day, I decided I had to cool off, maybe give her some space. I went to work, but I couldn't focus. Every time I looked at my phone, I wondered if she was calling or texting someone else, probably that Mitchell again, if I had to guess. I couldn't stand the idea she was still lying, still hiding things from me. I knew I couldn't just stay quiet and hope it all went away. That night, I planned to talk to her again, but this time I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to know exactly what I was dealing with. I started making calls to a few friends, asking if they knew her or had heard anything about her and that counselor. I also contacted a private investigator just to get some solid proof. If she was cheating, I wanted hard evidence, not just my suspicions. It felt strange, almost surreal. I'd never thought I'd be in this situation, being the guy who gets cheated on, the guy who gets betrayed by the woman he loved. But deep down, I knew I had to put an end to it. I couldn't keep living in this fog of lies and betrayal. In the meantime, Tanya kept up her bitchy attitude. She yelled at me, called me paranoid, said I was humiliating her, but I didn't care. Every word she spat at me only fueled my anger. I could see right through her bullshit now. She was trying to save face, to pretend everything was normal, but I knew better. That woman was having sex with that guy, probably multiple times, and she thought she could lie her way out of it. I was done being the fool. I was ready to take my revenge, but I had to be smart about it. I couldn't let her get away with it, no way. One thing I did realize was how much her betrayal had shattered my trust. I used to think honesty was the foundation of a relationship, but now I saw it was just a fragile illusion. Tanya was a bitchy manipulator who knew exactly how to hide her lies. And Dr. Mitchell, that guy was no hero. He was just a predator, taking advantage of her weakness. I'd never felt so betrayed and so angry in my life. I was starting to understand that I couldn't fix this, at least not with words. I needed a plan, something calculated, something that would make her regret every moment she betrayed me. But first I had to get that evidence, and I had to confront her again, knowing I was in a position of power now, not her. As I sat there, smoking a cigarette on my porch, I realized one thing for sure. I wasn't going to let her ruin me, not without a fight. I'd been a fool for trusting her so easily, but now I was waking up. Whatever came next, I knew it wouldn't be pretty. I was done playing nice. She'd pushed me to the edge, and she'd better prepare herself for what I was about to do. Whatever that was, it was going to be fitting, something she'd never see coming. I was going to make her regret every lie, every betrayal, every moment she thought she could get away with cheating on me. And if she thought she could do this and walk away, she had another thing coming. I spent the next couple of days gathering everything I could. The private investigator came through with some photos and videos. Clear as day, Tanya and Dr. Mitchell in a hotel room deep into some kind of affair. I couldn't believe it. Seeing the evidence made it all so much worse. It wasn't just a fling, it was a full-blown affair. My wife, the woman I loved, was out there screwing her counselor, someone she trusted to help her with her anger, someone who was supposed to be professional, and instead, he was just another guy she used for sex. That realization hit me like a punch in the stomach. I knew I couldn't just show up and accuse her blindly. I had to be smart about it, so I waited. I let her think everything was normal, that I didn't know a damn thing. I wanted her to keep talking, keep lying, keep revealing her true colors. I wanted her to slip up again, to say something that would confirm everything I already knew. Meanwhile, I planned my next move carefully. I didn't want to make an impulsive mistake. I knew once I confronted her with the evidence, there'd be no going back. Either she'd finally admit everything or she'd deny it and try to manipulate me again. One night she came home, late again, smelling like perfume and cheap wine. I was sitting on the couch pretending to be casual, but inside I was boiling. She tried to act innocent, but I cut her off immediately. I pulled out the photos I had from the investigator, showed them to her. Her face went pale for a second, then she tried to brush it off, calling them fake or saying someone must have set her up. But her excuses sounded pathetic, even to me. I had the proof right there. She knew it. And I watched her try to spin her way out of it, calling me crazy or insecure for even thinking she'd cheat. That's when I finally lost it. I told her she was a cheating bitch, that she'd been screwing around behind my back for months, that I had enough of her lies. I told her she was a disgusting slut who thought she could get away with anything. She snapped back, calling me jealous and controlling. She told me I was just mad because of my road rage incident, that I was insecure, that I was failing as a man. But I wasn't listening anymore. I'd had enough of her bullshit. I told her to pack her shit and get out. I was done with the games, done with her lies. She screamed and yelled, called me every name in the book, but I didn't care. I was past caring. I knew I wasn't going to let her destroy me anymore. This was the end of the line for us. I wasn't going to be her fool, her punching bag, her backup plan. She was gone, and I was finally free from her manipulative, bitchy attitude. That night I slept better than I had in months, knowing I'd finally taken control. Despite the hurt and anger, I felt some relief. I'd faced the betrayal head-on, and I'd made the decision to walk away. There's a certain clarity that comes with betrayal like this, one that forces you to see things for what they really are. Tanya was a liar, a cheat, and a user, and I was done being her victim. Now I just wanted to rebuild myself, piece by piece, and move forward without her dragging me into her chaos. Whatever the future holds, I know one thing for sure. I will never let someone betray me that way again. The aftermath was a whirlwind I didn't fully expect. After she left, I felt this strange mixture of relief and emptiness. Part of me was glad I finally cut the cord, that I wasn't going to be her fool anymore. But another part, the one that still loved her somehow, was broken. I kept replaying those last moments when she packed her things, the way she looked at me with total disdain, like I was just another problem she didn't want to deal with. It hurt, yeah, but I knew it was necessary. She had shown her true colors, and I refused to be dragged down by her lies anymore. In the days that followed, I threw myself into fixing what was broken, myself mostly. I started going to therapy, not for her but for me. I needed to process everything, every betrayal, every lie, every moment I felt like a fool. I also cut ties with her completely. No more calls, no more texts, no more trying to understand her twisted reasoning. I realized I had to rebuild my sense of trust, not just in others, but in myself. The worst part about betrayal is you start questioning whether you ever really knew someone, whether you can even trust your own judgment anymore. But I decided I wouldn't let her ruin me completely. One thing I couldn't ignore, though, was how much this whole mess changed me. I used to be someone who believed in loyalty, in honesty. Now I see that people are complicated and sometimes they just don't give a damn about the vows they make. Tanya's betrayal woke me up to that reality. I've learned that sometimes you have to walk away, even if it hurts, because staying would only mean accepting more lies and pain. I also learned the importance of not letting someone use your kindness or trust as a damn punching bag. From now on, I promised myself I'd be more cautious, more guarded, not because I don't want to love, but because I refuse to be played again. There's a strange sense of clarity that comes after betrayal. I see things differently now. I see the red flags I ignored, the moments I dismissed as nothing, and I understand that sometimes love isn't enough. People change. Situations change. And when someone shows you who they truly are, you have to decide whether to accept it or walk away. I chose to walk away, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. That experience, fucking brutal as it was, taught me that I deserve honesty, respect, and loyalty. Anything less is just a waste of my time. Honestly, I don't know what's next for me. I'm still healing, still figuring out how to trust again. But one thing I do know is I will never let someone strip me of my dignity the way Tanya did. I'll never be that naive again. And if there's a lesson in all this, it's that sometimes the only way to truly move on is to cut out everything that doesn't serve your happiness. People like her, bitchy, manipulative, dishonest, aren't worth a second of your pain. I hope anyone out there going through something similar learns that. You can get through it. You just have to be willing to face the truth, no matter how ugly it gets. Looking back now, I realize this whole ordeal changed me, probably forever. I used to believe that love was enough to hold everything together, but now I see it's just one piece of the puzzle. Trust, respect, honesty, those are the foundation. Without them, everything else crumbles. Tanya's betrayal shattered that illusion, and honestly, it took me a long time to put the pieces back together. I won't lie. It still hurts sometimes, especially when I see couples walking around, seemingly happy. I wonder if I'll ever truly trust again, if I'll ever open my heart the way I did before. But I do know one thing for sure. I am stronger now. This experience forced me to look at myself honestly, to face my own vulnerabilities and mistakes. I learned that no matter how much you want to believe in someone, sometimes you have to accept the reality that they don't deserve your trust or your love. That realization was one of the hardest lessons I've ever had to learn, but it was also one of the most important. It taught me that I shouldn't tolerate someone who manipulates and lies, no matter how much I loved them. Now, I focus on rebuilding my life, better, wiser, more cautious. I've cut out the toxic people and set boundaries I never knew I needed. I spend time with friends, do things I enjoy, and work on myself every chance I get. I refuse to let her betrayal define me. Instead, I see it as a catalyst that forced me to grow. I don't dwell on the past anymore. Instead, I look forward, knowing that I have the strength to survive even the most painful experiences. If there's one thing I want anyone reading this to take away, it's this. Don't ignore the signs. Don't let the fear of being alone or being betrayed keep you from walking away when someone shows you who they really are. Be honest with yourself. You deserve honesty, respect, and loyalty, things that can't be bought or faked. And if you find yourself in a situation where you've been betrayed, know that it's okay to feel hurt, angry, or lost. Those feelings are part of the process, but don't let them consume you. Use them as fuel to rebuild, to move forward. In the end, I learned that true strength isn't about never falling apart. It's about how you pick yourself up after. Tanya's betrayal was one of the most painful experiences of my life, but it also made me realize my own worth. I refuse to settle for anything less than genuine love and honesty. I hope everyone out there who's going through something similar finds the courage to do the same. Because, at the end of the day, you only get one life, and you deserve to spend it with people who truly value you.